Hi, my name is Michael Lamoureux, and I'm going to explain why Faraday's law of induction is false. There are two phenomena called induction. I must stress that they are independent of each other. The first is motional EMF. It is based upon the definition of the magnetic field. If a conductor moves through a magnetic field in such a way that it cuts the magnetic field lines, an EMF is generated in the conductor. This is how generators work. The second type of induction is called transformer EMF. It is the principle behind transformers and alternators. The difference between generators and alternators is not whether they produce AC or DC, but the principle upon which they operate. An intrinsically time-varying magnetic field is accompanied by a non-electrostatic electric field. Transformer EMF is codified by the Maxwell-Faraday law, which is one of Maxwell's equations. It states that the EMF around a closed path equals minus the partial time derivative of the magnetic flux linking or threading the path. The path does not have to be conductive. The partial derivative means that there is an EMF only if the magnetic field itself changes with time. If the closed path is conductive, it constitutes a circuit. Note that the conductor need not be in the magnetic field to have the EMF. It only has to be in the electric field. An example of this is the toroidal transformer, in which ideally the magnetic flux is confined to the core. Thus, the secondary winding is not in the magnetic field, but it is in the electric field that accompanies the changing magnetic flux in the core. All cases of induction are covered by one or more of the two principles described above. Faraday's law is therefore superfluous. It is given by the equation which is the same as for the Maxwell-Faraday law, except that the partial time derivative is replaced by the total derivative. This makes it too broad. It includes the Maxwell-Faraday law, so it gives the correct result for all of the cases covered by the Maxwell-Faraday law. But it also specifies an EMF for a time-varying magnetic flux linking a circuit which is due to a changing area of the circuit because of motion of the circuit or part of the circuit. The flux change in this case has no effect. Faraday's law describes a non-existent phenomenon. It is therefore pseudoscience. There is an EMF in the circuit with the same value given by Faraday's law. It is the motional EMF due to the motion of the conductor moving through the magnetic field. It is no surprise that the value is correct because the calculation to find the rate of flux change is the same as that to determine the motional EMF. Thus, the part of Faraday's law that is not the Maxwell-Faraday law is a correlation of motional EMF rather than a cause and effect relation, and therefore Faraday's law is not a law. It is also not a law because, as Richard Feynman points out in the Feynman lectures on physics, it does not always give the correct result. He gives examples. He does not call it Faraday's law, but instead refers to it as the flux rule, but they are clearly identical. Faraday's law is a mixture of truth and falsehood, and is therefore like unintentional disinformation. You physics students out there might ask your instructors why they are teaching pseudoscience in the form of Faraday's law. Thanks for watching.